Alright, so this video is going to be an update for stocks and cryptos and obviously other assets, right? So the last one that I did was 2 weeks ago. Right now, let's see what is the price at and what's the structure like after 2 weeks, right? I'm not expecting too much, right? Because it's a higher time frame objective, therefore it can take many weeks or even months to achieve, right? So here is the disclaimer, and right now I'll be moving on to the charts. I'm gonna go down like this, right? So the first one we have is Amazon. As anticipated, we have attacked this highs here. Alright, so right here Amazon is done. I have nothing for Amazon right now. How high can it go above this high? If I am to be forcing it, I would use this level here. Right, I will use this projection. Hold on a second. I'll use this projection here, maybe to 2.5. I'm not expecting much, right? Because we're at the new month, and this month we took out an old high, so retracements are pretty much expected. So the first objective for retracements would obviously be this fair value gap right here, right? And we shall see how that plays out in the next few weeks. Moving on, we have Google. So far Google looks a little bit more bullish than Amazon, but as I've mentioned as well, for Amazon, because it's above all-time high, I'm pretty much done. For Google as well, right? So for Google, it's pretty much done as well. So I'm gonna remove everything. Alright, for Amazon as well, everything. Okay, for Tesla, interesting here. So Tesla, I'm still looking for this swing low to be attacked, right? And it seems like it's taking quite a while to attack the swing low here. So right here we have relative equal lows. I think that it's not going to be left like that. We are still within the monthly candle here, so anything can happen in the next 2 weeks, but this is where I'm expecting 52.37. Yep. Next for Palantir, right? As I've mentioned, we're gonna trade back into this range, and because of this candle's closing price, I believe that we are going to trade back into the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap here. Right, so if I were bullish on Palantir, I won't want to see a closing price of the monthly candle below the 50% of this wick here. Okay, that's clear. I mean, that's pretty clear. So right now I'm still bullish for Palantir, but it has to show strength, and this wick right here should support the price on a closing basis. Next we have Meta, pretty much very near to the -2, right? And yep, because it's at all-time highs, I have no bias right now for Meta, right? Similar to Google and Amazon. Nvidia as well, no bias, right? Neo, oops. So I've mentioned that it's probably going to go lower, and I was expecting a sort of bounce or a slight retracement once it taps 40.15, but so far we have closed the week below this level here. So to me, this is not the kind of reaction that you want to see for a retracement, right? In that case, my eye shifts to this volume imbalance right here, so it would be at $4, right? So let's see if we get a retracement at $4. If we still do not get any retracements down here, then I think we're probably just going to expand lower without any form of retracements. Alright, is it possible? Yes, because we're technically in the last leg of distribution to this low right here, if you're considering this as a market maker sell model, right? So the majority or the biggest pool of liquidity is down here, therefore price is more likely to attack this liquidity. And because it's very near, as you would imagine, if you are the market maker, you wouldn't want to give time, or you wouldn't want to allow any time for the people down here to pull out before it gets to this level here. So let's just say you are a institutional level fund, right? So you have placed your stop loss here, but every week and every month you're gauging the strength, right? So if you are expecting price to attack your lows here, you would be pulling out right here, right, to save this, at least to cut loss, for example. So because as a market maker, right, you want to win as much as you can, therefore you're not going to allow them an opportunity to cut their losses, and you just want to attack their maximum stops. You get what I'm trying to say here? Hopefully you do, right? Anyways, moving on, we have JD here, and there's nothing bullish about JD. As long as we're below this fair value gap here, we can go lower, and because we have closed below this gray level here, I'm clearly anticipating price to go lower, okay? Because this level here was utilized to send the price higher, this fair value gap here, okay? And many times, right here and right down here as well. So closing back down below it, naturally it's going to act as a resistance, right? If you're a support resistance trader, you would pretty much understand this logic here, right? So moving on, we have Luckin Coffee here, looking more bullish than the other assets, but it's basically reaching into an old fair value gap. So for bearish price action, because I am expecting Luckin Coffee to attack this low here, if this month is a down close candle, it should close below these two up close candles for this play to work out, right? Okay, so let's talk about the weekly chart. Maybe we'll get a better idea. So this is what I like, right? So green candles here, and the next down candle, you want to see it overlapping the green candle, basically engulfing candle, right? If you understand the term better, it's an engulfing candle, right? So because of this candle right here, I'm going to expect bearish price action for Luckin Coffee next week onwards into this low here, right? So it's a significant low because it's a 6-month fair value gap, right? And I'm still anticipating higher prices for Luckin Coffee, but it's just that it needs a little bit of retracements. That would be right down here, right? Now 10 cent, let's take a look. We found some sort of support of this last down close candle. This is your bullish order block, and if you take a look at the weekly chart, because I believe there's nothing on the monthly to look out for, right? So on a weekly chart, right, I've highlighted this volume imbalance, okay? because this volume imbalance was used to send the price higher into this old high, right? So closing below this volume imbalance, as you can see right here, this is the range for the volume imbalance, okay, right here and right here, right? So if I'm bearish, I don't really want to see price closing above this volume imbalance. If it closes above this volume imbalance, then obviously it's going to run for this high, right? So right now what I like is that it is respecting this volume imbalance, and also it's closing back inside this CB that was used to send the price lower to take out this low right here. So this is something that I like for bearish price action heading into the next few weeks. This is for Tencent, right? So far it's the most bullish, one of the most bullish Chinese stocks out there. Okay, next we have Baba, right? If you take a look at the monthly chart, it's pretty clear that once it trades up into this level here, 77.79, it's going to trade lower, right? Because this is a bearish fair value gap, and we are really near this huge pool of liquidity. So to me, I mean, if you trade ICT right here, it's equal lows, and price is definitely going to reach there, but in terms of how it's going to get there, that's something that I can't really anticipate, right? Because as you can see right here, it's quite a high resistance liquidity runs, if you were to ask me, right? We took out swing lows and then ran back up this deep retracement, and then right now we're taking out another swing low here. But you look at the size of this candle here, you know, it's kind of delaying to get down here. It's really slow in getting down here, which is why, I mean, if I were to trade, I wouldn't be trading, or I wouldn't be shorting Baba, because it's taking too much time, right, to reach its objectives. So on the weekly chart, let's take a look. We have closed below, I mean, we've closed like this, but to me, if I'm really bearish, I want to see a closing price below this fair value gap right here, okay, for next week onwards. So if it starts to close below this fair value gap, then I think below this low, I want to see speed into this objective right here. So this is what I'm thinking. All right, this is for Baba. Now C Limited, pretty interesting so far, okay, because of this strong retracement here, and it's even closing above this consequent encroachment for the previous month. I'm entertaining the idea of running out this swing high right here. Let's take a look to see if we have higher time frame levels that can be utilized. Right, so if I really want to force it, it can trade back up into this volume imbalance here, 66.61. I mean, this is just forcing it, right? Because if you look on the higher time frames, we are very bearish here, and you don't really want to trade against the higher time frame bias, because you're gonna get yourself burned. Okay, so what is the next level if it's going to go lower? What is the next level that I would be anticipating? That would be this fair value right here, which would be at 26.41. Right. Moving on, we have SIA. The monthly chart here, because I am bullish, I don't like how the candles here are printing. Okay, because we have reached into a down close candle and then it rejected off of this up close candle here. But if you look at the 3 months chart, if I'm not wrong, or is it a 1 month, 6 months? Alright, if you look at the 6 month chart, similar to Luckin Coffee, oh, this price action is quite similar to Luckin Coffee, right? So if you take a look at the 6 month chart, there's this fair value gap right here. So if I really want to, buy SIA, it's going to be at these levels here minimum. That would be 5.87, right? On the monthly chart, the last stop hunt was right here. If you want to be strict about it, it's going to be right here. So for me, this swing low is a very good candidate for stop hunts for higher prices. Okay, that is what I'm thinking right here. Next, we move on to DBS. Right, overall we are in accumulation. Once it attacks this high here, I will be looking for a sell-off down here to this level. If you take a look at the 3 months chart, we do have volume imbalance below here and fair value gap as well. 6 months chart, this is a very clear fair value gap. 12 months, we do have a fair value gap as well. So I think this level here, 29.46 or something, it's a very good level for targets for shorts, right? So for DBS, basically what I'm anticipating is that if it attacks this high, then it's going to go lower, right? This is very simple. It's just range trading here. Okay, now for Genting, it hasn't moved much ever since it tapped into this. If you take a look on the higher time frames, it's actually an inversion fair value gap, right? Because this fair value gap, as you can see right here, it was utilized to send the price higher into the all-time highs. So this fair value gap is very significant, and if I'm bullish, which I am, I would like to see price not close below this level on the 3 months chart, which it did fulfill in the first quarter of the year. But the thing is that after tapping this level, it did not really show a strong reaction away. So for me, this would be a concern. Okay, yeah, this is not clean at all, right? Now moving on, we have Capital. Ultimately, I'm still looking at the 7.66. Similar to SIA, it could want to reach down into this fair value gap here on the 6 months time frame. Now why is that so? Because April's open is right here. Sorry, not April open right there. April's open is right here, right? So if you're bullish, obviously buy below April's open. It's pretty clear. You can't get any clearer than that, right? So if it is not going to take out this swing low, then the nearest PD array that I can really find is this volume imbalance with this fair value gap right here, right? So this price level would be $6.84. That could be a good entry, right? But I'm just saying, I'm not your financial advisor, nor should you take financial advice from me, right? I'm just sharing my opinion, right? Now moving on into Corp monthly chart. There's nothing so far. I think it's a range bound, similar to DBS, so we'll have to see where it attacks first, right? It's either the highs or the lows. To me personally, I think it's going to attack the highs first into this -4 level, and then from there we can retrace. So if you're bearish, obviously short above April's opening price. Simple as that, right? Moving on, we have Citrum, right? As I've mentioned before, this is not something that is in any way, shape or form bullish, right? So we do have a fair value gap here on a weekly time frame. we should see speed, right, because of this closing price right here, which is what I really like, right? So what I like when fair value gaps are respected is when, I mean, how do I determine if I am most probably on site, right? If we have a closing price within this fair value gap, right, this is supposed to be a bearish fair value gap. If we have any closing prices within this fair value gap, the next candle should close below, which is what we have right here. So this makes this fair value gap high probability, and from this candle onwards you want to see price starts to spool lower. Okay, this to me would be termed as a high probability fair value gap. Okay, this is for Ethereum. Moving on, we have Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, overall we are still bullish, and looking at the monthly chart, the nearest level that I can draw from, it's 59, right? But do keep in mind, if you take a look at ETH, we have this level right here as well, so it's the same, but the problem with ETH is that it's not making higher highs together with Bitcoin. So to me that is a concern, right? Because we have this SMT right here. When we were trading down here, there was no SMT. If you're comparing the highs from this high and this high, Bitcoin did make higher high, so there was no SMT on this high here. So which is why right now we are trading above all-time highs, right? Because it's not a reversal. Reversals only happens when SMT is present. So for example right here, this time here, right, with between 2018 to 2020, let's see if we have SMT. Okay, you're gonna be mind blown. So right here, 18, 20, we do have SMT. ETH make a lower low, Bitcoin make higher lows. So this is an indication that we are going to reverse from this current bearish order flow, right? It's bearish because it's not trading above highs, right? It's not making higher highs, it's making lower lows right here, this level here, I mean this time period right down here. So this is a very good indication. Right now what I'm watching for is this levels here as compared to ETH, this levels here. So if we kind of range around here and a swing low is formed and then it kind of breaks below those swing lows, for example, so we range here, eventually Ethereum is not able to take this high and then it breaks a low, closing below this low, for example, right? Any retracement into this leg here is a sell to take out all the liquidity below. As you can see here, this was the last stop hunt before higher prices on the monthly chart, right? Therefore, I will be cautious if I am playing crypto long, right? Due to Ethereum right here. Okay, and I think this is basically it. Right, let me just go through DXY. It's kind of interesting here for DXY. Right, so if you have been watching my live streams, I've mentioned that I don't really like how it trades above this high here and then fail to displace lower after this week, right? This candle, after this candle here. So initially I was expecting, just a small recap, okay, for those who did not watch the previous forecasting sessions, right? I was anticipating dollar to trade up into this area here and then lower prices into the fair value gap below. However, once we have this candle here, I was pretty much convinced that we're going to go lower, right? But this candle right here proved me wrong. So at this candle's closing right here, which is I think 25th of March. Okay, my bias shifted into a possible market maker buy model. If you take a look at the daily chart, it's much clearer, right? So right here you have the original consolidation. This is your sell side of the curve. This is the buy side of the curve, right? And because we are bullish on the higher time frames, as you can see right here, we're really bullish for dollar on the higher time frames into this high frame, right? So as you can see, it's like the same thing, market maker buy model. Okay, so it's the same sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve. Okay, and if you draw this line down here, this was the last low that took out this high, right? I mean the last fair value gap that took out this high here, and which is the nearest to where we are trading right now, right here, right? I didn't really feel it. I thought it did, right? But anyways, this level here was utilized to send the price higher. So right here we are sort of like respecting it back and forth, but eventually we did close above. So as long as price is above this fair value gap, I will be bullish for DXY. Okay, it's plain simple, very simple. And if you can see right down here, this old volume imbalance here, you look at how the price respected this level. So this right here is your hard invalidation that we are going to go for new lows, right? If dollar is able to close below this level here, then we are most likely going into new lows. But as of now, we're really far away from it. So I have not considered dollar to be bearish at any point in time, right? As soon as we have closed the year like this, I mean closed the year of 2022 like this, right? Now how, what levels can we glean from that can be utilized as a mirror image, right? So because for market maker sell or buy models, it's basically going to mirror the left side of the curve. So right here, as you can see, the sell side of the curve is this distribution. Okay, so right now, because we are reversing, price is going to utilize the PD arrays on the sell side as the support, if you will, to go higher. So this is one, right? The second level would be, I mean, this volume imbalance here, right? But it's not really that good of an indication. Yep, it's not really that good of an indication. But price did in fact trade up into this level here, right? So this is not very clear for me personally, right? And what else do we have? We have this, nothing else really. Well, if maybe I can have something on the monthly chart right here. Yep. So right here on the monthly chart, as you can see, we have this fair value gap, right? Send the price lower, and just look at how the price respected this level here, and then eventually we closed above it. Right now came back, support, right? So if you happen to be like supply, demand, support, resistance trader here, this is very useful. Fair value gaps are your natural support and resistance, right? So right here, price is trading higher, and yeah, on the higher time frames, definitely bullish on the dollar. Okay, so how far can you go above this consolidation here? My eyes is right here, this level here, 107.993. okay, now because it's trading above April's open, I'm not sure if it's going to resume back in range again. If so, that would be great, because that would provide room for indices to run, right? So far what I've seen is that unless dollar makes this huge move, and indices is not really going to follow through, right? So if you are comparing this run here, this is a good run, by the way, in Forex, right? So if you take a look at ES and NQ on the weekly chart, pretty much it's not doing anything, right? On here, just accumulation, ranging market, similar for Dow Jones, and for dollar, it's rallying, right? However, when dollar was in an accumulation, this is the year 2023 to 2024. Right, take a look at the year 2023 to 2024. Price is running like expanding, right? So this is a very good price action for indices actually. So what I've come to realize is that unless dollar makes this huge one directional moves for a course of many months or a couple of years, indices is not going to follow the price action of the dollar, right? So it's going to have its own world, or if we start to trend higher, like for example this level here between the range, right, indices is going to be choppy, right? So when dollar is choppy, indices is rallying. When dollar is expanding within the consolidation, indices is going to chop, right? Consolidation basically. So I'm waiting for this move here. I think we're gonna get it, because if you look at the yearly candle, this is an inside candle. So it also means this year could probably be a huge or big range candle, right? If this year doesn't trade above this high here, then obviously it's going to be next year. So two candles that are between, right now we have two candles within this year here, which is the year 2022, right? Therefore, because it's on a higher time frames, how many times do you actually get an inside candle consecutively, right? So if you take a look, let's see if we can find any inside candles on the yearly. Okay, well, if you want to argue, we have one right here, and then the next subsequent candle we traded at least below, away from this previous year, right? It could be something like this for this year. So something like this takes out the previous year's high and goes lower and eventually goes higher, right? Who knows, right? So we have to watch as it goes by. So it could be something like this, or it could be something like this as well. So we have two inside, but as you can see, the following year always takes out the previous year's highs or lows, right? So right here, and then the subsequent year is going to expand right here as well. Right here, over here, this example here is, it took 2 years. For this example here, it took 1 year, just basically 1 year. The year after this candle, we have a huge expansion. So let's see if we have any other examples here. Alright, so far no. So as you can see, the frequency is very little, right? It's basically only 2 examples if you're using this chart right here. So I believe at the minimum we're going to attack the previous year's high, and preferably I would like to see expansion towards the upside, right? If it takes out this year's high, previous year's high, and then it comes down into previous year's low, to me that is seek and destroy. Seek and destroy profile, right? You can anticipate that, especially when we are in this, we're right now trading an inside candle, right? So we could anticipate that to happen, which is why I am still bullish on the indices until it proves otherwise. Okay, so for example, if DXY trades up into this level here, and then basically into the midpoint of this wick, and then decides to run lower for this fair value gap here, then we would have a bull run for indices. And it kind of how would you say it? It kinds of look like it's going to happen that way, because right now we are above April's opening price. That's number one. Number two, we are above the yearly opening price, and if you take a look at the opening price right here, it did not have any wick, right? It's like I can't even see the wick properly here, right? But obviously we have examples of years whereby it doesn't have a wick and then it just expands away. Like for example, maybe this year here opens, but we took out the previous year high. Let me see if there are better examples. Right, so for example, like this year here, right, it just wicked below a little bit and then took out the previous old high, right? Old high. So we could have that example right here as well, but let's see about that. So I'll be looking forward to what price do after taking out the previous year's high, or even after trading into this consequent encroachment here. Alright, to see if there is a willingness to trade lower, and if there is, then obviously we're gonna get a huge bull run for indices, basically. Okay, now I think that's about it. I've covered pretty much everything that I want to, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? With this, I'm gonna end the session. Right, I hope you enjoyed your weekends, and if you find this insightful, or if you find it helpful, do leave a like, and if you have any questions, do leave it in the comments section down below. Okay, and I'll talk to you again maybe 2 weeks from now, right? We're gonna have the April's closing in 2 weeks time, so I would probably do this updating for this particular analysis style every 2 weeks. I think that is a good time frame, because overall we're looking at a higher time frame chart anyways. So yeah, again, have a great weekend, right? I'll see you in the next one. Good luck trading next week.